Ignite the spark with Dr. Angela's eye. Step into the future shining bright. Helping students reach new heights. Wellness care with Rob, feel so right. Business with my boo, we take the lead. Hospital beauty serving those in need.
So, hello everyone. Welcome to Ignite Your Next Phase with Dr. Angela. I'm Dr. Angela, and I'm your host. I have a guest host today, my husband, Rob.
Hello, everybody.
On this podcast, we talk to people who are 50 and older, who are stepping into their next phase. We have a very special guest today. He's one of our good friends, Donald Zombo. I affectionately have named him Don Don. So welcome, Don Don. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm very good. I'm glad to have you here with us today.
I'm glad to be here.
Okay. So let's start talking about it today. So tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us about your next phase.
Well, where do you want me to start? Right at the beginning?
Well, you can make that part a little brief.
Okay. I'll start with my career at Ford Motor. I was at Ford Motor Company for 35 and a half years. Did environmental work. I retired. Then I went into credit repair and did arbitration. Then I left that. And then for quite a long time, I wasn't doing anything.
Okay.
Then I moved to the Ohio area and moved into, Westbrook Senior Village.
Okay.
And I met a fellow, his name was Ernie Unholz, who was my pastor now. Mm-hmm. And he kept telling me I was going to, I had a calling. Mm-hmm. And we discussed scriptures quite a bit and all that. But, he's been telling me this for years. And then it was after I contracted cancer, things changed for me. Within 6 months, I had a calling. And it was just hit me in the face to do Reiki. So I became a Reiki practitioner.
Tell me what Reiki is.
Reiki is the ability to use energy. It's energy healing. And it's the ability to get somebody to sit with you or lay down, or you could be in at distance. I do mostly distance healing, but now I'm doing broadcasts where you meet the same vibration and frequency and you send energy to them. And if they meet that frequency and vibration, they heal themselves from that, from God's energy.
Okay. So you said Ernie, and full disclosure, Ernie married me and Rob. So you introduced Ernie to us.
Yes.
So thank you for that. He's a wonderful person.
Sure is.
So how did Ernie know about it? Does he practice Reiki?
No. He was taken back when I told him what I was doing. And it was really crazy because when I started doing Reiki as I started seeing supernatural things happening at the house that I've never, ever seen before. One instance was I had a moth that looked like an angel. It died, and I had it on my computer desk.
Okay.
It was sitting there for months underneath my monitor. Well, summertime came, I opened the window, and it disappeared.
Okay.
And I looked all over for it. Well, one night my wife had a vision of a set of healing hands on another set of healing hands, which I interpreted as Jesus having his hands on mine, on her. Mm-hmm. And so she had that vision. And then I got a call from Ernie that morning. He wanted to talk to me, and I walked into my office, and I'm sitting on my chair, and I'm twirling around on it as I'm talking. Well, as I'm twirling around on it, I looked at my desk and my monitor, and the angel wings were right under my monitor again. I'm getting goosebumps right now because I looked for them. I looked all over the desk. I looked on the floor. It wasn't there. And all of a sudden, the angel wings were there. And I said to Ernie, I said, "You're not going to believe this." He says, "What?" I says, "Those angel wings I was telling you about, they're under my monitor." And he just said, "It's a sign, Don. That's all it is. It's a sign telling you that you're going the right way."
Okay. So that sign, tell me, how does it have to do with Christianity, or is it something separate apart from Christianity?
No, I am a Christian, but I don't recognize any religion. I'm a spiritualist. I believe God is God of love and light. I don't believe him to be one of punishment and retribution.
Okay.
So, and that's the way I look at it. So when I do Reiki on somebody, it's all love and light, and it's energy passed on to them from me, channeled from God himself.
Okay. So how long did it take you to become a Reiki practitioner?
I started in 24 in around June, and I ended up in 26 of June becoming a Reiki master. There's 3 levels. Just a practitioner, not a practitioner, but just the level where you just learn.
Okay.
The second level is you become a practitioner, and the third level is you're a master. I became a master under Usui Reiki, the doctor who originally started Reiki.
Okay. So another full disclosure, you did Reiki for Rob and I.
Yes, I send
year.
I send long distance energy to you. I still do. I send it at 9 p.m. to 9:10 every day, Monday through Thursdays. But Rob has come in, and I've worked on him at my house. And was one interesting thing that I did learn. Another thing I learned was I started working with pendulums.
Okay.
And I found this out when I was going to my meetings, and other Reiki practitioners were there, and one was using a pendulum to check chakras, and I thought that was really interesting. So I started researching that, and I found out that a group of not Reiki, but pendulum practitioners put a pamphlet together, or a small booklet together, on how to program a pendulum. So I went through, it's like 15 or 20 pages, researched it, went over and over it again, and I programmed 4 different pendulums. One for my higher self, one for Reiki spirit guides, one for Archangel Raphael, the healer angel, and one for my guardian angel, Daniel, who I named and he accepted.
Okay.
So I work with spirit. It's unbelievable. And when Rob came in, I checked his chakras, and when I programmed the pendulums, if the chakra was working, to spin clockwise.
Okay.
If the chakras were not working, the pendulum would stand still. It wouldn't move. Well, when Rob got on the table, he was laying face down, and I'd start checking his chakras, his roots all the way to his crown.
Okay.
Not one of them were open. Not one.
Okay.
So I called my wife out. She was in the bedroom. I said, Patsy, come on out and see this. So I showed her, and I went across all the chakras, nothing. So I worked on him for a half hour. I checked his chakras again. Everyone was spinning clockwise, all the way up to his crown.
Okay.
It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Even when I take the pendulums and set them in a tower that I have, they sit there, and though they're not moving, you can see them moving just a little bit from the energy.
Okay. So, Rob,
Yes.
would you go back to receive Reiki from Don?
Well, of course I would. I think he does take his Reiki very seriously, and I really appreciated the effort, that he put into the couple of times I went over and saw him personally on his table. Fortunately, I wasn't dead on the table when my chakras weren't working, right? So maybe he kind of brought me back to life, so to speak. But yeah, I would definitely go back, and just it's always like a timing factor for me, but absolutely.
Okay. So, Don, what do you like most about this phase and about your adventure that you've gone through?
Well, I wanted to serve God my entire life some way. And I went from religion to religion to religion to religion and never, ever found anything. And in this, I found what I was looking for. Okay. So I'm just blessed to be able to do this. Okay. I just love it.
Okay. So you did something to, were you going to marry your niece, or was it your niece?
Well, yeah, I became an ordained minister to marry my granddaughters.
Okay.
I got 3 of them.
All right.
But then they put off their weddings.
Okay.
And I ended up marrying one of my neighbors.
Okay. Wow. Wow.
It was kind of cool. They just came over. I went over it with them, and we had a couple glasses of wine. It was great. It was fantastic, and they loved it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So tell me what you find most challenging about this next phase.
The challenge is to continue moving forward, to continue to learn, continue to understand. There's so much about the spiritual realm that you have to learn. And if you're not careful, you can get yourself in trouble. So I'm very careful on how I do things, and I research things to death before I start on to them. I didn't start working with spirit until I talked to a spirit medium and talked to him about how to go about it. She gave me a lot of different information that was very helpful. And then I just kept researching, and when I got to the point where I felt capable of doing it, I programmed my pendulums and I started working with them. One interesting thing, when I talked to my guardian angel, Daniel, I asked him straight out, I says, "Are you steering me to certain videos on YouTube?" He said, "Yes." So I have a helper that's helping me decide which videos to view and which ones to take seriously.
Okay. So what obstacles have you had?
Oh, it's all obstacles. Everything's an obstacle because you're doing this by yourself.
Okay.
Even though there's Reiki practitioners around the area, everybody's on their own journey and everybody's doing their own thing. So I try to hook up with a lot of different people to learn things, but it seems that I'm on a solitary journey by myself, which I don't mind, but it's easier when you got a bunch of people giving you information on how to do things. So I stumble all over the place. I keep moving forward, but that's what I got to do.
So your wife, Patsy, who's also a very good friend of ours, how does she support you with this?
At first, Patsy didn't understand it because it was my calling. Mm-hmm. And she opposed me for a while. And we had some issues, but she's come around to my way of thinking, and she actually assists me in my broadcasting when I do broadcast Reiki now.
Okay. So if you could change anything, would you change anything?
Yeah.
What would you change?
I'd change the time period that I've learned this stuff.
Okay.
I've learned this stuff at the end of my life, ending of my life journey. I would have liked to have known this 20, 30 years ago. I could have been so much further ahead.
I think that's one of the themes that seems to come out as I ask that question to people who are starting into their next phase or who are well into it.
Right.
But one of the things I say is things happen in the time that they're meant to happen. So it may not be the timeline that we wanted it to be, but it's the timeline that it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Ernie Unholt said that to me, my pastor. He said, "You got it at the time you needed it," But I look at life totally different now. If I would have got my cancer before understanding what I know now, I would have been a mess. Whatever happens is fine with me now. I'm good with it because I know what I know.
Okay. So if you had some advice to give to someone who was maybe afraid to step into that next phase for themselves or to encroach on something new, what kind of advice would you give them?
If they're inclined to do what they're thinking about doing, do it.
Okay.
Don't wait, do it. And you keep going towards the goal. There's a saying like fake it till you make it. Keep moving forward until you get to the situation where you're doing what you need to be doing. That's all.
So it sounds to me you're saying don't have regrets?
No, don't have regrets.
Okay.
No.
Okay. You have anything to add to that?
To that subject?
Yeah.
Sort of. I kind of had a question ready to ask you, and you've already been talking about it a little bit. But my question to you today was going to be, along the lines of when you got your diagnosis of cancer, because we remember that pretty distinctly, and how it affected more so, I think, Patsy than your own self. And
Yeah.
you were right from the very beginning. I remember how willing you were to just accept whatever was going to happen to you. Right. And as it was, it worked out very well. You've ended up being treated and recovering at this point, doing great. And I always like to know what somebody thinks once you've gotten to this point. Is there something that you now have been given a new lease on life for? So Reiki has been one of them.
Yes.
But since we've already talked about that, is there anything else that you've maybe put on your bucket list at this point in your life?
Not really. When I was diagnosed with bone cancer and prostate cancer, I asked the doctor, I said, well, she says, what do you want to do? I said, what can you do? I says, you're just gonna make me comfortable and let me go. And she started laughing on the phone because she called it in, And she said, don't you want to be treated? I says, treat this? And she said, yeah, we'll take care of this. But I believe, this is my personal belief, I believe this cancer pushed me in the direction I needed to go. I really, truly believe that. I am very happy now. This is the happiest I've been my entire life, other than marrying my wife and having my children and having my job. I'm very happy and very blessed for my family, for my friends, and for the knowledge that I have now. And I want to keep moving forward with what I'm doing because it's so wonderful and so blessed.
As Rob was saying, I remember that time very well. And you didn't spend very much time in the feeling sorry for yourself phase. You seemed very positive, and we refused to give up on you.
Yeah, and it's because of what I've learned.
Right.
Because when you understand about the transition and you understand about what the purpose is being on the planet is, it changes for you. Mm-hmm. When I lost my sister 3 years ago, I cried, but it wasn't because, it wasn't like, I'm never going to see you again. Da, 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 da. And no, it was, I cried because I missed her. Mm-hmm. I know where she is. I know what she's doing. And I know I'm going to join her, mm-hmm. Sooner rather than later. But whenever I go, I know who I'm going to see. And I know there's a whole different realm out there for us to be in. A lot of people go to church every week, but when they walk out of it, when they start talking to their friends, they all talk about, yeah, we're going to be, going to be in the dirt someday. They don't even believe what they go to church for because they don't understand the concepts.
That's a very good point.
Yes.
That's a very good point.
Yes.
Yeah. So, if someone was interested in learning about how to become a Reiki practitioner, or someone interested in your services as a Reiki master, would you be willing to share your contact information?
Of course. And when I started taking Reiki and learning Reiki, my whole object was to do Reiki and do it for free. And as an ordained minister, I do it for free. I marry people for free, and I do Reiki for free as a gift to God, to show God that I'm serving him. And that's what I wanted to do. And that's what I've been doing for the last 2 years. I don't charge a dime for what I do.
Well, do you have an email address or something that we can, people can get a hold of you, or would you like to put it in the chat on?
Well, actually what I do is I go by word of mouth.
Okay.
And right now, as I was saying, I do broadcasts. I use my phone, my iPhone, I put it up on a tripod and it's in the air, and it views my whole front room. And I have I call them, the dummy is called Charlie Correspondence. Mm-hmm. And the dummy is a correspondence or a proxy or a substitute. When I start doing Reiki on this correspondence or substitute, it becomes the person that doing the broadcast to. They're mm-hmm. watching it. And when I'm checking their chakras, it's their chakras I'm checking. Okay. It sounds strange, but it really worked.
So if you were comfortable, you can put it in our chat on the site. And Any other words or of wisdom you like to say?
No, other than what goal is, go ahead and do it. I've never realized how happy I'd be since I've done this, and I'm the happiest I've ever been in my entire life.
Okay. Any other words?
Well, I was thinking back to that introduction about you moving to Ohio and when you moved into the senior area that
Yeah.
you're living in and meeting somebody. And I'm thinking, I think I can remember somebody else that you met right after you moved in there. Somebody that did some work for you, you know, kind of became friends with you, you know.
You mean you?
Oh yeah, well, it was me, wasn't it? No, I just wanted to say that that was probably one of the best times of my life and my work and my carpentry business, because I met you and your wife, and it wasn't just do the work and be done, and you kind of befriended me and asked
Right.
to maybe get together again outside of the work, and
Right.
I said yes, and we've had this long relationship ever since.
For
And-
10 years now.
And you and your wife have been some of the best friends that I've had.
You're more like family than friends.
Right. Yep.
More like family.
Yep. So, well, thank you, Don Don, for
No problem.
for being with us today. Thank you to our audience and our listeners for joining us on Ignite with Dr. Angela. Let's talk about it. And until next time, see you next.
Thanks, Don.
No
All right.
problem.
Thank you, Don Don.
Yep.
Ignite the spark with Dr. Angela's eye. Step into the future shining bright. Helping